All right, get ready for one of the weirdest stories in all of history. We're heading down under, but this isn't about kangaroos or crocodiles. Oh no, this is the story of a full-scale military operation against a bunch of birds.
And I'm not kidding. You heard that right. A modern, battle-hardened army was officially defeated by a flock of giant, flightless birds. So the big question is, how on earth did that happen?
Well, to really get it, we have to rewind the clock. Let's see how a simple bird became the most wanted creature in all of Australia.
Picture this, it's 1932. The world is in the absolute grip of the Great Depression. For farmers way out in Western Australia, things are already beyond tough. They've been trying to make a living, but now they're facing economic ruin and, as it turns out, a very large, very hungry, feathered enemy.
And we're not talking about a small problem here. We are talking about an army of 20,000 emus migrating and just demolishing their wheat crops. For these struggling farmers, this wasn't just some nuisance. It was a plague, literally destroying their livelihoods.
So, with their backs completely against the wall, what do the farmers do? They turn to the only solution they can think of. They call in the military. And this, my friends, sets the stage for one of the most unlikely showdowns in history.
I mean, it seems like a pretty simple equation, doesn't it? You've got the might of the Australian military on one side and a bunch of birds on the other. You'd think this would be over in what, an afternoon? But, as we're about to see, things did not quite go according to plan.
So, let's break down the matchup. In one corner, you've got Team Human, led by actual World War I veterans armed with two powerful Lewis automatic machine guns, serious firepower. And in the other corner, Team Emu. Their stats? Well, they had about 20,000 soldiers, incredible speed, and what turned out to be an uncanny genius for guerrilla warfare. On paper, it looks like a total mismatch. In reality, it was anything but.
And with that, the military deployed. The mission couldn't have been clearer, confidence was sky high. Operation Emu Extermination was officially a go.
And this is where our story goes from a serious military operation to, frankly, a complete and utter farce. The battle began, and the results were, well, let's just say they weren't what the army expected.
The second the soldiers opened fire, just total chaos erupted. See, the emus didn't flee as one big, convenient target. Nope. Instead, they scattered into tiny units, each bird running in a different direction at unbelievable speeds. For a military commander, it was a nightmare. There was no target to focus on. Hitting these things was nearly impossible.
You can just feel the panic and the absolute frustration in that soldier's voice. These guys were trained to fight other soldiers in trenches, not a decentralized, lightning-fast guerrilla army of emus. All their military tactics were totally and completely useless.
So the military just let loose. They fired nearly 10,000 rounds of ammunition trying to put down this feathered insurgency. 10,000 rounds. And after all that firepower, you're wondering what the result was, right?
Yeah, fewer than 1,000 emus were actually hit. The ammo-to-kill ratio was abysmal. It was becoming painfully clear that their main weapon was almost completely useless against this particular foe.
And this wasn't just a one-day blunder. The campaign dragged on and on. Then, the press got wind of it, and soon, the Great Emu War became a running joke across the country. It was a PR disaster for the Australian military, pushing them toward a pretty humiliating decision.
So, this brings us to the final act, and to the inevitable and frankly hilarious conclusion. A winner had to be declared, and you know what? It wasn't gonna be mankind.
Eventually, the commanding officer had to make the call. Facing non-stop ridicule and a complete and total lack of progress, the military officially withdrew. They had been outmaneuvered, outsmarted, and just beaten.
So here it is, the final scorecard. The Australian military, defeated and deeply humiliated. The emus, victorious and defiant, having successfully defended their territory against modern weaponry.
In the end, the Great Emu War is this really humbling and honestly hilarious reminder that sometimes all our human might and technology is just no match for the simple, stubborn resilience of nature.
It's a story that really makes you think, right? What other times in history has a seemingly simple force of nature just completely upended human plans?
it really makes you wonder, what's the most surprising underdog victory you've ever heard of?